Gotti is a 2018 crime mobster independent film that has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. This video I'm going to be talking about Gotti as well as my view on that whole controversy, because it is one of those things that I feel as though it needs to be talked about specifically by me. You know, other people have talked about it, but I want to give my view on it. But first comes first. This is a film about a mobster named Gotti, his last name at least, but we'll just call him Gotti. Played by John Travolta, as you are seeing via flashback and present, his life story, how he got to jail, how he made his way up the ladder, so to speak, and his relationship with his family, his son in particular, who you see in past and present as he's kind of become similar to Gotti, but also at the same time made his own way. And that's what this film is about. It's basically just kind of a summary of this guy's life in the mob. Let me just get this out of the way. I think this film, I think it had potential. I think that it easily could have been good. There are some times where John Travolta is good. There are other times where it's just kind of like, bro. It's kind of like the makeup work for this film. Some of the makeup is good, some of it is bad, but that's just a lot of this film. It's a lot of, well, I can't quite call that a positive, because there are some scenes where it's like bad. Particularly also just the sound design. There are some scenes where the sound design is good, and the other scenes where it's just like, it feels way too off. But the one thing that is completely awful is the cinematography. You know, I'm always saying, oh, the cinematography in this film was passable, or, oh my goodness, it was incredible. So, it's rare when I say cinematography is really bad, because I try and give it benefit of doubt. I understand it's very hard to shoot a film. I do. But this film had no idea how to do it. I mean, there were scenes where literally it was like this, where the person's head was getting cut off. And sometimes that happens in films. You know, sometimes it's for an effect. But when it's done all the time, first of all, it loses the effect. Second of all, it's kind of like, are you an amateur behind the camera? Like, what are you doing? The lighting is also just, it feels way off. It's not naturalistic. It's not stylish. It's just somewhere in between, just really bad lighting and just kind of like meh. Kind of like the lighting in this video. I'm filming it at night, almost, pretty much. So the lighting is going to change a little bit, but I acknowledge it. This story also has been done to death. It's not a good story. It's like, yeah, it's based on a true story, but still, it's a story that's been done to death, and it's been done better. You know, you got the Godfather films. They did it better. Sopranos did it better. Heck, Goodfellas. There are just so many mob films where it's just like, it's been done better. So, I honestly, Gotti, like, I'm giving it 2 out of 5. I don't think it deserves, like, a 0% of Rotten Tomatoes. But again, I'm not like saying like, oh my goodness, the critics like really destroyed it. Like there's a disconnect between critics and audiences. This is what I'm going to say. So I gave my review 2 out of 5 and tried to make it as brief as possible. The people that say there's a disconnect between critics and audience members, yeah, no duh. Because you have audiences that are able to pick and choose what movie they see. You as an audience member, you can see one movie a year. You can see one movie a month. If it looks interesting, you can see it. If it doesn't, okay, you skip it. Simple as that. Movie critic, guess what? We see everything. We have to. Or else, you know what? Why do we know anything? Because we've seen a lot. So if we've seen the same thing multiple times, we notice it, and then we critique it, and we're just kind of like, well, this is crap, you know? And that's the difference. If we see 10 movies with the cliche of, good guy, by the end, he's, got a moral lesson, you probably only seen one of them that year. So to you, it's fresh and invigorating. But when you've seen 10 of them, it's kind of like, it's old hat. It's like, so, yeah, there's kind of a disconnect, but you also have to understand, it's because we see a heck of a lot more movies. If you see a heck of a lot more movies, you're gonna get more critical, odds are. And if you're not, you're at least gonna notice a lot of tropes and cliches. And to further that, you don't pick and choose. And because you don't pick and choose, you might have a beef with a certain film because you went into it not wanting to see it, and the film just kind of furthers as to why you didn't want to see it in the first place. So, I don't know. That's why with Gotti, with getting a 0%, and you look on Rotten Tomatoes and you see a 0% from critics and an 80% or so by audience members, it's like, well, yeah, we see probably a couple mob movies a year versus an audience member. This is probably the first mob film they've seen since Black Mass. So it's like, of course audience members are going to like it. It makes sense. I'm not bashing audiences for liking it. I'm just saying, like, it makes sense. Again, as I'm saying. So, that's just my little take on it. Just a little bit. I know some people have gone way in depth with it, and that's fine. I just don't think it's fair for people to be bashing critics when it's like, you don't understand. It's kind of like, okay, maybe we don't understand audience members, where it's like, you see 5 movies a year. Well, guess what? We see probably 500 movies a year. So, it's to each in his own, pretty much. It's a matter of just respecting each other's views and understanding that we all have our views, and we just need to live our lives to the best of our ability and to just accept each other's views. So that's my thoughts on Gotti, as well as just the whole controversy with, Rotten Tomatoes 0% versus 80%. And throwing this out just, before I get into my whole little spiel. I've been there. Death Wish, many people hate that movie. I can understand. Many critics hate it. I can understand that. I agree with the audiences, though, with that movie. So I think if anyone's like, oh, you're just a critic, watch my Death Wish review. I gave it a passable review. So just throwing it out there. It is possible for critics to disagree with other critics, just like it's possible for a casual audience member to disagree with another casual audience member. So, guys, thanks for watching my review / rant about Rotten Tomatoes. If you like this video, don't forget the subscription, notification bell, and I will catch you guys later.